I want to talk about something today I think is super important. I'm going to talk to y'all about compressing time. Compressing time. This is a big example here. And I want to just do I did an experiment there with that. We talked about when's your training schedule. It needs to be scheduled. If it's not in your calendar every single day at a certain time, you're not training enough. You don't have the thing written down.
Hey, this is Blake Sloan. I've been selling real estate over 14 years. Our team of highly trained professionals, along with our unmatched marketing, has sold thousands of homes here in the Myrtle Beach area, and this is how we do it.
Right? You're not going to be good enough. I'm going to give you an example of 3 people here. I'm going to draw them out. Person 1, person 2, person 3. The best way to make money right now in this marketplace is to do what? To skill up. We talked about this. Why? Because the market's different. We got to skill up. So the same skill sets that worked 2 years ago doesn't work now. Why? Because the market's more difficult. There's a contraction in the market, meaning a shit ton of agents with less deals. 30% less deals, same amount of agents. It's slowly going down a little bit, but not near as fast as the drop in deals. Everybody with me on this? Right? So that's the main problem in that scenario. But I'm going to show you how you can do the same thing in 3 months what it takes a lot of people 3 years to do. Okay? But it has to be done with commitment in that scenario, right? And the number one thing that gets you wealthy is the ability to get things and learn things faster than other people. Okay? Period. So, look at timing, right? Overall, this is how training works, right? Do you guys believe you have the ability to make more money? Right? Everyone here thinks they have the ability to make more money in the business, right? I do. I think you should in that scenario, right? The question is, why aren't you? And the difference is the skills that you aren't great at yet. And the skill set we talked about is what? Role playing, overcome objections. We're trying to practice in the field, and we get the objection yesterday. What happens? The dude hangs up on us because we're not sharp. We don't have it. No, we kind of know it, just enough to kind of think we know it. But then when we're tested, it doesn't work, and the guy hangs up the phone. Excuse me on that, right? So, 365 days in a year. Everybody with me on that? So we got 3 people. Every single person has what? The same amount of what? Time. I'm going to talk about an example of 3 different people here. And we're going to talk about the training schedule and what people should do and how it makes a difference. And it's really just the fact of compound time and what that does. So first person, person 1, right? They're trained. Now how long should you train? Anyway, 30 minutes to an hour. I want you guys to consider that training 1 hour a day is what percent of your day? 4%, right? From 30 minutes to an hour, 4% of my day. So 4% of my day become a 1%er. 1%er means I'll earn 99% of people in the business. 99% of people in real estate, 99% of people here in our MLS, right? I got to train. So these people here, let's look at how much spend 4% of their day training. 1 hour. Now this is time for you, not your husband or wife or kids. This is for you to work on you, not your business, okay? Not my home inspections, not my leads. I need to work on what? Me. And this needs to be planned out in that scenario. So let's look at person 1. They spend 1 hour a day, 365 days a year. Which means how many times they train? So they got 365 times better. Did you get me on that? So if you all spend an hour a day for the past 2 weeks learning these objections, would you have it? Absolutely, right? It would not be a doubt in my mind that you would absolutely have it down. So that's 365 hours trained on objections, on overcoming them, on sales psychology, all that within 1 year. You guys with me on that? Person number 1. This person here is what we call a 1%er. They're willing to do what 99% of people don't do, which is do what? Work on themselves, spend 4% of their day, once a day, training and learning, getting better. Okay? However you want to label that, self-development, self-improvement, whatever it is. Okay? And there's a saying that I was going to teach on maybe next week. It just talks about formal education makes you a living, right? Self-education makes you a fortune. Okay? Because you got to make sure that you get better in terms of what you do. All right? It's just how it is. It's very, very important. And so talk about that. Person number 2, they train an hour a week, right? So 1 time a week times 1 year, how many times is that? 52, right? 52 times. So for me to catch up to this person here, that did 1 hour a day, every day for 365 days, how many of these does it take? 7 years. So 7 years to catch up. So the difference is when I'm training 1 day a week, it takes me 7 years to get near as good as a person who's 1% that trains once a day. 7 years to get good. Right? We all agree if I train every day for an hour for 365 days, I'd be pretty good. Why is that? Because I'm working on myself, my sales psychology. This is how people grow really fast and seal a lot of deals and have a great career early on, because they do the work early. This is why people try to learn on the field overall. And then how most people operate is they'll do it once a month. There's people in this room that just train themselves once a month. They make 1 role play a month. They make 1, I'm talking about time that you actually practice to internalize the scripts, the objections, all this stuff. Now, that's 12 a year. How many times does it take me at 12 a year to get to 365? Anybody know? 30 years. This is the power of compounding time. This person, 1%er, trains 1 hour a day for 365 days. Just in 1 year, they're 365 times better. If I train here once a week for 52 weeks, it takes me 7 years to actually get good. This is why most people are making real estate. They come in, they suck, they learn on the fly, they learn the first scripts and the stuff we make you do the first 2 weeks, and then they try to learn on the fly, going through, showing up to weekly meetings every other week or whatever it is. They don't practice outside, and it takes 7 years to actually get really good. Where you can kill it face-to-face with everyone. People like you, they send you referrals, they want to actually work with you, and you can close every objection. Okay? And this here is what most people do. This is the average. These are like 99% of people outside of here. They have 1 monthly meeting as a company. They show up, and it takes 30 years to get that. Here's what's crazy. Right? If you understand how those numbers work, let's say you have a brand new person. This person here is 20 years old. They train 1 day, 4%, 1 hour a day for 365 days. They're crushing it at age 21. Making 6 figures. Why is that? Because they mastered this craft. Master a skill set. Actually learn and stay consistent in training. Person 2 comes in at 20 years old. They train this way. Guess what? They don't start crushing it until when? 27 years old. A lot can happen in 7 years. And think of how painful this is to live broke and not have the actual skill set you need for 7 years because I'm trying to learn on the fly. And that's just once a week. Like talk about, that's why I practice once a week, 12 o'clock on Wednesdays. 7 years to actually get good versus 1 year. This person trains once a month. They don't really need to practice. They feel like they got it down. They'll do once a month, maybe show up to a role play, maybe actually practice on themselves when nobody's looking. This person comes in at 20 years old. What happens? When do they get good? Age 50. Now you talk about compounding time. This person makes 6 figures plus. This person's making 20, 30, 40,000 for 30 years. That's changing legacy of lifestyle, legacy of your family tree by just doubling down, doing what you need to do every single day for 1 year. The major problem is, though, is we don't have anybody doing that. It's been 2 weeks since I shared the objections and no one has them. Which is alarming to me. Because some people don't have enough money in the bank to be living a life like this. Right? You owe it to your kids, to your family, to actually level up and be better and not look them in the eye and struggle. Because you have the ability to make more money. You just got to do the work on yourself. Why don't we do it? We get too comfortable. We just stay and just do what's comfortable the entire time. Is this easy? No. Is it convenient? No. Right? But to have things that you don't have now, you got to do what you haven't been doing. And it was just a big aha for me to say, look, I got to help you guys understand the power of compounding. This person can have everything you want in 1 year. This person takes 7 years. This person takes 30 years. This person here, guess what? They ain't going to make it. What are they going to do? Quit real estate and go do something else. Be an order taker somewhere else, show up, hit the clock, and not ever get any better. Which one do you think is the most fulfilled? The first one. Why? Because they come in, they're crushing it, they're beating everybody else, they're dominating. Because why? They've mastered their craft. And they continue to do that. No matter what they have. All right, and one thing I want you to do is take some time right here and write down on top of your paper how much money is in your bank account right now. How much is in your ATM? And say, look, how much is in your bank account right now? You can withdraw from the bank today. Then beside that, I want you to add up what your debt is. If you have mortgage, how much you owe on your mortgage? If you don't have mortgage, write down that you rent. Our goal is there is to get you to do what? Own a house, right? We want to get you to own a house. That's how you build wealth and build equity and have these things. Then under that, I want you to put what your car note is. Whatever the car note is, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $80,000, paid off, whatever it is. And then under that, put any other debt, which would be credit card, and add those numbers up to the total debt. Number one question is, right, if you take that debt, could you pay that off with what's in your ATM? If not, guess what you haven't done? Earn the right not to train. And if you don't see multiple six figures net here, guess what? Still haven't earned the right not to train. Why? Because we got to make sure that we're able to understand where I'm at and how do I get better. Because we all agree that you can earn more money, you just have to level up your skill set. And some people in the room have multiple six figures in their bank account after this, which is good. But that's still not enough not to do this. It's got to be every day, every day, every day. I've got multiple seven figures, but guess what? I'm still doing this every day. Why? Because that's become who I've become over the years. You have to make sure. Last week out of town, guess what? I'm going through videos, going through stuff, studying. Very important, because while you have to make sure you're staying on top of the game here and you're able to multiply time here against anybody else. The question I have for you is, why do you think that you've earned the right not to do this when you haven't done this based on the numbers here in your net income? Okay? Super important for us. I want you to write down to yourself, nobody can read it, why haven't you been doing it? What's the story you're telling yourself to justify letting yourself off the hook of not actually getting better? Everyone needs to write something down because no one knows the script. What's the story you're telling yourself to justify not actually doing it? So what we have to do is kill the story and find a better story that gets you what you need to get, which is the best version of you overall. I don't ask you all to do anything I don't do. But looking at this, is it worth 4% of my day to invest in me, my number one asset, every single day to have the life I want? And the main question is, why don't you do it? I don't know. That's going to be your answer. For me, I don't understand it. I can't understand it. That's my biggest weakness as a leader, is I don't understand people that don't want to get better. Right? So it's just important for us to look at that and say, look, this is the secret how you beat everyone else. How do you get good at something? As humans, it's this word right here. What is it? Repetition, 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 right? There's a saying behind it. What is it? Remember? Anybody know the saying? That's one. Repetition is what? What's that? It's the mother of all skill, right? They always say that. Maybe you haven't heard that, right? It's super important. Because this creates what? Skill. Which means what? What does skill mean necessarily? It's a tool or an ability that's what? That's learned. It's important because it's not a natural ability. A skill is learned. And once I have a skill, that breeds this word here called competence. What does that mean? Being good at it, right? I feel good at it, understand it, I feel confident in it, I have the ability to do that. And then what that does, it breeds something else, which is what? Confidence. Now, confidence sells because it also is a different word that goes along with it. What is it? Certainty. Certainty sells more than anything else to people. And so, if you wonder why people aren't listening to you, why they don't follow you as a client, is because they don't feel the confidence in you. Because guess what? The skill set's not there, which doesn't bring confidence, and you don't feel confident in yourself in doing it. Which is why we don't actually bring it up. Like some of y'all have practiced it a little bit, right? Done a pretty decent job on it. But the reason that you didn't want to come out and go, role play in the front of the group is what? Lack of confidence. Now, if I'm not willing to do it in a group here, because I don't feel like I'm going to do what? You're not going to nail it. So if I'm face to face with a client who gives me an objection on the telephone, guess what? I'm certainly not going to be good at it. Have it nailed. I'm not going to have the competence or the confidence to do it without having the repetition. So I just want you to understand, it's got to be repetition. I found many times I bought this book from that guy, and I was reading the book, and in the left side it has the objection handler, the right side it has this graph of every time you check it off, and basically it's a full 30 days for every one that you practice every day, because it takes that many times before you get actually good at it. You can't come on a Tuesday and read it over one time and then get good at it. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, very important for us to understand that, I got to make sure I understand what happens in this piece. 4% of your day, 1 hour. Because everybody have the ability to do that. Like I mentioned, if not, just check your screen time on your phone. That'll answer that question for you. There is time. You just got to make sure you create priority. Now, how do I make sure I connect the dots to make this happen? What's the first step? Was it? Schedule it. Schedule it in your calendar. What time are you going to the gym for your mind? And I mentioned before, same time, same place every day. It has to become a priority. If I know I can collapse time 365 times faster than everybody else, I know I can do this if I actually just take time to schedule it. Even people who have been in business for a while, your business could be a hell of a lot better if you take time to get better. Everyone has to, because the market's changing. I don't care how long you've been here. It takes making sure you get good at it, because right now, in a shifting market, you need to have confidence to make sure you can sell. I would maybe do 2 things. I would practice my role play to myself at least 3 days a week or 2 days a week, depending on how good I am. And the other days, right, and I would probably do 3 days a week of my role play to who? To myself. I don't have to have somebody with me. I just got to do what? Recite it to myself. One thing I used to do with mine is I record it in my phone, and me saying it in my phone, I listen to it over and over. Because that brings what? Repetition for me. And I would say it along with my own words and my own voice. Even though I don't like hearing my own voice, I would say it over and over and over until it became my subconscious. And at that point, I'm able to nail it. And then what happens after a while, you get so good, any objection comes up, you know how to get around it. Because you have competence in just understanding the psychology around it. Okay? Does that make sense? But first of all, when you guys just have first step is to do what? Schedule it. Make a commitment and say, look, 4% of my day to get 365 times better over the next 12 months. What would your life look like if you just committed to that and stuck with it for 365 days? Drastically different. How much easier would it be to sell real estate? Way easier, right? Every objection you have a way to overcome it. Everything goes smoother. Deals go smoother. Your confidence be better. Your energy be better. Everything be better. You're looking at everything as an opportunity versus how to live in a struggle every day of your life. But some of you have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired before you actually make a decision to do this. And the people in the middle that are comfortable need to make a decision of look, how am I going to get any better? Am I going to stay comfortable here or just be mediocre? Or am I going to get better? For me, mediocre makes me sick. I'll never be mediocre. I hate being mediocre. I hate anybody's mediocre. Anything. Right? It just shows weakness. So I want you to make a decision of look, here's what I'm doing the next 12 months. Okay? The next 365 days, what do I want my life to look like? It's just like the gym. I go to the gym, guess what? You work out for 7 days straight, what do you notice? Nothing. Nothing changes in 7 days. But over time, 2 months later, 3 months later, all of a sudden your muscle starts to get more defined. You start to lose weight. Your pants start fitting better. All these things happen because it takes compounding of time to get the results. And so I got to do this as a commitment for the long term to say, look, who's the human I'm chasing down version of me 12 months from now? What does he or she look like? How they talk, how they act, how they handle objections. All this stuff matters in terms of how I show up.